Well, this is the first module, and with the first module, I'm going to do my best to give you an overview of the workings of the textbook site and also an overview of what the chapters are about. So, first of all, welcome to class, and I hope that you enjoy reading the textbook and doing the activities that are associated with learning about yourself and becoming an even a more balanced individual. The first thing to start with is that we have a Get Ready folder under the course content in e-learning, and that's how you access the book. You go to the content page, and under Get Ready, you'll see the link. It says it's an external link. It links to the Barefaced course material. You'll click on that, and you will be able to go ahead and get access for a short period of time, but I think within 7 days you have to purchase the material for $85. When you're in Bareface, on the far upper right hand corner, you can see the to-do list, and that will always have the list of the assignments that are on the must get done. It's organized by date, and this is also there'll be course notifications, course calendar. There's a couple different ways that you can look at the assignments. As you move through them, you can go ahead and check them off. And notice that the very first thing is extra credit quiz 1, and that is going to be associated with the chapter readings, and it is due July 9th. And it is extra credit, so you don't have to do it if you don't want to. This is what the Bareface page will look like. It has, I've organized it in modules, and so the module page always has the click for the payment, and then it has module 1 with a drop down arrow next to the left to the word module 1, and you will be able to see how to access the book as the very first thing, and then it has the textbook chapters itself. And there are 2 ways of looking at the chapters. You can do a chapter just by reading it like a web page, or you can earn bonus points by taking the second option. No matter what, the chapter is going to open up into a new page, and you'll see that it says load readings. That includes 5 bonus points. Who am I? And again, you don't have to use this particular choice, but it's kind of fun. When you click on that, it'll open up into a new page, and you can see on the left it has all the sections of the textbook. It'll give you an idea of how far you are in completing the reading. Each black menu bar has a drop-down menu, and as you move through that, you'll see in the top center it says 1 of 1. So as you scroll down this page, it'll give you an idea. It'll have some information, and as you go to the next page and move through pages that way, you'll have questions that you'll be able to answer. So here's an example of the Science of Mind and Body. It has some sections in it, and one of the sections is to select the best answer, and this makes the reading a little bit more interactive and also checks for understanding. And you'll see that at the top it says establish a healthy concept of self. It has 2% that's completed, so it gives you an idea of how much you have to do, and then you'll check your answer by clicking that orange button. To see where your grades are, I will ultimately put them up in e-learning, but there is a grade tab in Bareface. You'll notice that you can arrange it by due date, or I believe by module, and you can see that you can also calculate based upon only on the graded assignments. If you want to do what if, there's a little section that you can do to do that. So this will have the score, it'll have the out of, and then if you click on, I think these are all hot or active, you can click on those as well. So you should be able to see your grades really easily. I'm not a fan of, can you tell me what my grade is? I always have a hard time with that. So you can print your grades or show the details, and that should give you a plan of what you do. This course is just pure percentage. So you would get your total points earned divided by total points available, and that's your percentage. So that's kind of an overview of Bareface, and the first chapter is establishing a healthy concept of self, and this is all about thinking. The first chapter that you're going to look at is all about wellness and the dimensions of you, and you're going to do a small assessment where you evaluate your current level of practice in these different dimensions, and then how satisfied you are with that dimension. And the dimensions include many parts. It's our physical body, our emotions, our mental health, our spiritual connections, our connections with other people, our happiness with our occupation, and also our sense of financial wellness. Those are our key dimensions that we think about with wellness. And we use the term wellness now instead of health because wellness is more dynamic, and it's a incorporation of our daily day-to-day living choices. And it's not something that you just snap your finger and that's where you are. It's a lifelong process, and we are consistently moving and bettering ourselves, hopefully, and sometimes we make choices that we are somewhat regretful for, but we have an opportunity to change and to start over again. And we have influences from other people and perhaps even our entire community. So the concept of self can be thought of being like a wheel with you in the center, and you have components that may or may not be happy with, right? So the behaviors that are in each one of these dimensions are going to influence your wellness every single day. And the quality of these lifestyle choices are going to be determinants of our life and our longevity and our health. So when we have these spokes interacting with one another, or if you have a spoke that's broken, your wheel doesn't turn around as smoothly, and you can have like a bump, a bump, a bump. And so trying to find or moving toward a balance in all of these components that's going to be important. So the physical has to do with, if we look at the gray, physical is living, being active, eating balanced nutrition, enjoying leisure activities, perhaps exercising regularly, whatever, just moving. Financial wellness is about living within your means and knowing about your financial status. Emotional, I'm going to tell you, it's not about being rich. It's about being able to maintain a lifestyle within your financial means. The emotional side is about having fun and happiness. We're going to spend some time talking about happiness. Social has to do with relationships. Occupational is all about finding meaning and fulfilling work that gives you a sense of that you can move forward, that you can progress, that you've got space to grow. And spiritual wellness, or the spiritual dimension, is about finding meaning and purpose in your life, which can consist of going to church, it can consist of volunteering and being a support for a neighbor. The environmental dimension is about having a healthy environment, and the intellectual dimension is about always learning and being inquisitive and having curiosity. So you'll see the wellness dimensions as sometimes 7, sometimes 8, sometimes 9. I am a person that leans toward just looking at 8. Doesn't mean that I'm the only one that's right, but it is the number of dimensions that I'm going to ask you to consider. So part of the concept of self has to do with the choices that you make and also the factors that affect you. So we can always think about making a good choice, but there are components that are going to add a wrench. We do know that we can choose what we eat, for example. However, you may not have access to fresh fruit, for example, or might not have a choice of where you live. And so there are we have choices, but we also have often have limitations. The environment has to do with access to living in a safe environment, a safe neighborhood, a neighborhood where you feel that you have clean air, clean water, that all impacts your influences or affects your wellness. Your genetics. Be aware of what your family health history is and what increased risks are in your genetic makeup, because lifestyle choices might need to be directed toward decreasing risk of certain diseases, for example. Your emotional state, that is certainly impacting our wellness, because we found that people who are cheerful, energetic, who are positive, who are physically active, have lower death, lower symptoms, and decreased pain. And that is pretty awesome. And we're going to talk about happiness and gratitude a lot throughout the semester. And also healthcare, having access to it matters, and you may or may not have access to healthcare. If your parents have healthcare and you're under the age of 26, the Affordable Care Act gives you some access to healthcare. If you are over that age, or you don't have a job that offers you healthcare, unfortunately, the United States offers healthcare and ties it to employment, which I think is a mistake. But anyway, that's if you don't have a job, or if you don't have a job that gives you good benefits. Many people don't have access to health care, and that truly influences a person's ability to have a preventative care, vaccinations, and whether or not you go to a dentist, etc., etc. So as we move through the semester, we're going to think a little bit about how you feel about yourself, the sort of self-talk that you make. Do you have negative self-talk? Do you have a I think I can type of attitude? And to consider, how can changing your perspective of yourself affect your physical wellness? So Module 1 and Module 2 both open, but you'll notice they have different close dates. So I open things up on Sunday morning, and the modules close by Friday at 11:59. So there are 2 chapters that are in Module 1 and 2 chapters in Module 2. Module 1 closes on Friday the 9th, and you'll see that there are 3 self-assessments, which are relatively quick, an extra credit quiz, and then a project. It's called Put It Together, and I have another video for that. It's in the assignment, And that is going to be helpful, I think, for you to get started with how these projects work. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and finish up. Thank you for listening.